Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of the Monie Podcast. I am your girl, Monie, and today's episode is for the ones who are rarely spoken to, but who carry more than we'll ever know. It's for the women who imagine being mothers, but life had other plans. The women who tried but hoped, who prayed, the women who had names picked out. I'm talking about those who saved babies' clothing in the back of the closet, those who watched their bodies betray them, their timelines dissolved, or their relationships fall apart. It's also for the women who never tried because, well, they were busy surviving, building, healing. And now they wonder quietly, what if? If you've ever swallowed your pain during a baby shower, if you've ever smiled through Mother's Day, ironically, that's my birthday, while your heart ached in silence, if you've ever been told, you'll understand when you have kids, when you knew that time might never come, this one's for you. So basically, today I wanted to talk about women who wanted to have children, but it just never happened. As life would have it, you took a different path and reflect back and where you're coming from and wondered, shoulda, woulda, couldas. I'm in that boat. And I wanted to do this episode because I find myself lately reflecting on that and just wondering, you wanted to be a mom. And I feel like that ship has sailed and it's not something that will happen for me. Um, I don't have children of my own, but I do have nephews, I do have nieces, and I look at myself in that light as, I am a mom. But um, it dawns on me sometimes that it's not gonna happen, and it never happened. When I was in high school, I was in a circle of friends, and one of my friends got pregnant at 18, young. And it just created a negative light on her. Oh, you're so young, you're still in school. But she always wanted to be a mom, always wanted to be a mother. And I think just going back to that, it created a fear in me to think like, oh my gosh, you're so young and you're having a kid. But it was a dream of hers, and she just never looked at age or anything like that. She just always wanted to have a baby. And she ended up having a baby. But I think going back to that time, I look at the fear that was instilled in me, and that may have contributed to why I don't have kids. Another thing that might have contributed to why I don't have kids is just like my life is just so busy, so busy, so busy. I never gave a lot of attention to like relationships or dating or finding that one true companionship where I can say, okay, we're going to build a life together. We're going to have kids. I never gave a lot of attention to that. I feel maybe if I did, my path would have been different. Maybe I would be a mom, but my life and my my hobbies, my creative side just took toll of me, and basically I went a different route. So I reflect on that, not just myself, but I have friends who aren't moms, and as they, watch themselves get up in age, they wondered, is it ever gonna happen for me? I have a friend who is actually in her 60s, and she says, yes, it will happen for her. She will become a mom. And if it is your dream to be a mom, hold on to that. Don't look at age. Um, don't look at, the factors that's out there. We're in 2025. There's so many different medical avenues that you could take to become a mom. So I wanted to tap into that today just to talk about what it feels like, what you're going through, and uh, to let you know that you're not alone and you're not less than a woman because you simply don't have children of your own. Let's talk about the grief that's hard to explain. There's a grief we don't really talk about enough, a grief for what never happened, a grief that doesn't come with candies, flowers, or sympathy cards. That grief, it's invisible, it's unspoken, and it lives quietly in the hearts of millions of women, especially right here in Canada. Statistic Canada in 2021 showed that nearly 1 in 5 women age 45 to 49 have never given birth. And out of those, basically, 1 in 6 are involuntarily just childless due to infertility, medical conditions, or life circumstances. Now, Black Canadian women often face systemic healthcare barriers and stigma and cultural silence. All right, so that's something we don't really talk about. Black Canadian women, what they face, the stigma and the cultural silence. When you look at the medical, the emotional, and the unspoken piece, this isn't always about waiting too long or choosing career over family. It's about real life medical challenges that rarely get attention. Over 80% of Black women will develop fibroids by age 50. Now, that's a big one. I have a girlfriend, and she and I were having a conversation, and she was just explaining, she recently got diagnosed with fibroids, and the doctor said she has to undergo surgery to remove them. And it was heartbreaking for her because not only was she diagnosed with fibroids, but it was telling her because of that, it was a factor into why she would not be able to have children. And she actually just broke down and it broke her heart. So, you know, fibroids is one of the motherhood silent killers. PCOS affects 1 in 10 women, causing hormonal imbalance and infertility struggles. Endometriosis, I hear this one a lot. This one is big. It often goes undiagnosed for years and causes chronic pain and, of course, infertility. Some women go into early menopause in their 30s or early 40s. Now, I don't know what's going on with me, but lately I've been getting some hot flashes, and I'm just wondering, like, let's just hope it's because of these heat waves that we have going on here. Because I then started to look into, like, oh my gosh, could this be a sign of early menopause? And it has me thinking, and I'm looking at the signs, I'm reading all these different articles and just trying to diagnose myself rather than going to see my doctor because I'm just worried about what they might say. Like, yeah, it's early menopause. But that's another factor that has contributed to why some women don't have children. Um, let's get into some quotes from a few of my favorite actresses, media moguls that I look up to, and some of them don't have children of their own. Now, Gabrielle Union, she says that there's so much shame and mystery and guilt that surrounds fertility issues. Nobody wants the world to see their uterus as broken. Ah. Now, Gabrielle Union, she went through maybe 8 or 9 miscarriages. Now that's heartbreaking. For those of you listening who've been on that journey and have experienced that, you know exactly what I'm talking about, what that feels like. And because of that pain, you know, you find out that you're pregnant only to eventually end up sadly not carrying the baby to full term. Because of that, she turned to surrogacy, and she spoke about the emotional and spiritual toll that it took on her. Sinai Layton, that's another one of my favorite actresses. Uh, she is practically basically in her 50s, and I had to look her up and just find out, does she have children of her own? Because her life is just so private. I just wanted to know. I got curious. And surprisingly, she doesn't have children of her own. And she said that I have no regrets. I never felt like I needed to have a child to be fulfilled. And that one really resonated with me. Sinai Layton, she's basically like, she pushed back against the idea that womanhood and motherhood are different. She's basically saying that they are one and they are the same. Oprah Winfrey, really admire Oprah, really look up to her. Oprah says that I never had children, not because I didn't want them, but because I realized the work I was called to do, and it would not allow me to do that kind of work and be the kind of mother I would have wanted to be. So basically, Oprah believed that you can be a mother to anyone who needs nurture. And these three women don't have children of their own, and they never let it stop them. They continued to live their lives. So I basically share from these women because they show us that there's more than one way to create life. You don't have to give birth to birth something. And that's key. They're not moms, they don't have children, but yet they're doing so much with their life, doing so much more. So there's many forms of motherhood. Motherhood isn't just about biological. It's about how you nurture, how you care, how you show up. You are not disqualified from legacy, and you are not missing anything. I don't want you to feel less of a woman because you do not have children. You're simply living a different version of motherhood, one that the world doesn't always see. But you know who sees it? God. God sees it. Which brings me into references to the Bible. In 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 23 says that Michal had no children till her death, but her life still mattered, right? Her life still mattered. She was the daughter of Saul, the first wife of David. She was royalty. She helped David escape danger. She was strategic, bold, but the Bible says that she died without bearing children. And still, she was seen, named, and included in many, many, many stories. Now, her worth wasn't erased because she didn't give birth. Her life still mattered. In 2 Kings chapter 4, if we look at the woman, it says here at first that she had no children, but was generous, kind, and hospitable to the prophet Elijah. Eventually, She was given a child by miracle. Her identity was not initially defined by motherhood, but by her wisdom, hospitality, and faithfulness. So, why do I share biblical references? Basically, I refer to the Bible a lot on my own journey. And I find that the Bible is full of women whose were empty, but their lives were full. And their legacy wasn't in their bloodline, it was in their obedience, their impact, and their faith. So if you're a woman without children, have faith. You are a mother to those who are motherless. You are a mother to your niece, your nephew. It doesn't have to be biological, as I said. So just know that in your faith, you are making an impact. And now a letter to these women. When I was thinking of composing this letter, thought of what I wanted to say, how I can tie in words that I myself personally would like to hear from someone. So I wrote this letter to those listening to encourage you to keep it on, to know that you are not defined by motherhood. And although it may have been something that you wanted, I know growing up, I kept telling myself, by 25, I'm going to be married. By 30, I'm going to have children. I always thought one girl, one boy. That's good, you know? And as I said, it never happened. And so I recently wrote a letter to my unborn children. I wrote a letter just to basically release that side of me and just to put it to rest. I think I had to come to terms with realizing it's not something that's going to happen. And I have to be okay with that. So the letter that I've written is to the women who ultimately wanted to have children, but it did not work out that way for you. To the women who tried and it didn't happen. To the women who froze their eggs and never used them. To the women who lost babies before they had names. To the women who never got the partner, the timing, or the health. You are not forgotten. You are not less than. You are not invisible. I see you. I honor you. You may not feel that way, but I see you and I honor you. To the woman who gets quiet around Mother's Day, to the woman who smiles at the ultrasound photos but went home and cried, to the woman who's still waiting for someone to say, you matter too. You are not forgotten. You are not less than. You are not invisible. You are powerful. You are nurturing. You are love. You may not have given birth to a child, but maybe you gave birth to peace in someone's life. Maybe you carried someone through depression. Maybe you raised a niece, mentored a student, or fed a neighbor. Your mother to the world in the way you give, love, and simply show up. So that is my letter to the women who do not have children. I wanted you to feel seen, appreciated, and loved, although you do not have children of your own. Know that it is not something that makes you less of a woman. Know that it is not something that you feel that you have to accomplish. You are fine and complete in your own skin. I know women who are aunties, myself, and basically in name, but mothers in spirit. We pour into our nieces and our nephews, and we help to raise siblings as well. You teach, you mentor, and you basically help to pray, and you uplift kids, children who aren't even yours, but who are needed. Motherhood is a role, not a title, and it can show up through adoption, foster care, or just being present. When I got to a certain age, I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she said to me, "You ever thought of adopting?" And I said, "No, I never thought of that." And she said, "You should look into it. It may be something that, you might find joy in, and it's not something that will hurt." And I thought about it for a while, and I never really pursued that path. I thought about if it was something right for me, adopting, and having a child, basically, not my own, but just adopted. And for those of you who have explored that path, I say I honor you. And I think that's a big step to do that, to really decide that although I can have children of my own, I'm going to look into adopting. You are basically a mother. It's not a child that you gave birth to, but you are that child's mother. I thought about it recently. I went back and I thought about it and I said, Mom said you should look into adopting. Hmm. Hmm. And I've come to the conclusion that is not a path that I want to pursue. I feel that I'm content with where I am. I feel that I'm okay with not having children. I feel the life that I lead right now won't allow me to give 150% to a child. And so I try to show up in other ways that I can to my nieces, to my nephews. And sometimes I look at those who have children and the neglect that I see, and it makes me so upset. Especially to see like a child that's hungry and sometimes they're not being treated well. You often look at it like, the mom is so blessed to have a child, yet sometimes it's the mindset or, times are hard. But just to show a neglect to a child, and I often think, you're so blessed to have a child. You just got to give them the best. You just got to show up. You just got to be there. And I wouldn't want to put myself in a position like that if I can't give it 150. So, to those who have explored avenues such as surrogacy, adoption, foster care, I honor you, I respect you, and I really, big you up for doing that and to exploring those options. So this brings me into the segment of our show, Good Things Are Coming. And the Good Things Are Coming is going to be a series. I have quite a few that I wanted to say for this one. Your story is not over, and your impact is not measured by your family tree. Is measured by the love you leave behind. So I want you, if you're listening and watching me right now, to repeat after me. Good things are coming because I am enough, even without a child of my own. The second one, good things are coming because my love still has purpose. All right, we have another one. Good things are coming because I am whole, even when I feel unseen. And the last one is good things are still coming because for me, in my time, in my way. All right. So I hope throughout the week you will repeat those affirmations if you're feeling down. If you ever have regrets and reflect back like shoulda, woulda, coulda, just know that you're on a journey where your life is unfolding into the way that it ought to be, the way that it's supposed to. Don't live with regrets. Don't feel like you did something wrong because you absolutely didn't. You know, you're valuable, and just know that your life was never attached to your womb. It's attached to your soul. And sis, that soul is radiant. If this episode resonated with you, send it to a girlfriend of yours or someone you know who needs to feel seen. Drop me a message, drop me a line, share, subscribe, and let's build a sisterhood that makes space for every version of womanhood. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for listening. And I really appreciate you guys. Until next time, remember, you are still powerful. You are worth being here. Bye for now.